Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Uh, in this occasion, we are going to learn about correlation research. With me, Yusroni Farlan. Uh, in this presentation, I would like to explore more about the concept, the types of correlation, key methods for measuring it, real-world application, and how to interpret result effectively. Okay. Yeah. Now, first we have to know about the concept and understand about what the correlation research is. Sugiono, 2019, defines as associative research. Now, the term for correlational as research that aims to determine the relationship between two or more variables. This definition emphasizes the primary goal of discovering relationships. And other experts, they are Frankel, Wallen, and Hume, 2012, define correlational research as a study, right? A study that investigates the possibility of a relationship between two or more variables without any attempt to influence those variables. They also call it a form of descriptive research because it describes an existing relationship. Yeah, so it is very clear, right? And correlation research uh, is used to answer the questions below. Is there a relationship between the two or more variables? Second point, how big or far the relationship can be explained. The last, predicting the magnitude of relationship. Okay, next, there are three correlation research design. The first, correlation, regression, and prediction. Okay, so the next, correlation. Correlation research design is a research design that aims to describe the relationship between two or more, remember, two or more variables. It means that it can be used for any variable, right? Two or more variables. Yeah, you can see that the degree of relationship, how strong the relationship is, expressed as a number between -1 and +1. Called the correlation coefficient. A correlation of 0 indicates no relationship. I think it's very clear. And here we have to know the types of correlation. Correlation, the types of correlation, there are three: positive correlation, negative correlation, and zero correlation. Positive correlation, both variables move in the same direction or plus. For example, the more advertising, the higher the sales. And the next, negative correlation, uh, three, the variables move in opposite directions or in the minus directions. The higher stress, the lower concentration, and the last, zero correlation. There is no relationship between the variables, right? There is no relationship. Yeah, hate and intelligence are unrelated. Yeah, it's very clear. And the next correlation example, yeah, you can uh, see that a researcher wants to determine whether there is a relationship between motivation to learn physics as X and achievement in physics as Y for the study. A questionnaire were distributed was distributed to examine variable X, selecting a sample of 20 students to complete the questionnaire. For variable Y, respondents were given a physics achievement test. Okay, next. Okay, uh, I will provide the 10 respondents here. First column is respondents. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 students. And the next column, uh, motivation to learn English. Right? English learning achievement. So here, so we will see the difference, the result. Okay, correlation example. A researcher wants to determine whether there is a relationship between motivation to learn. Yeah, I think it's already understand about this. After the data is collected, it is then analyzed using Pearson correlative to determine the linear relationship between one variable. Yeah, one variable. The data use is on an interval or ratio scale. The correlation value is 0 to 1, and the closer it is to 1, the stronger the relationship. So I think uh, there is the correlation there. And the next example of a correlation between of the degree of extroversion X and speaking skill Y. Data for X and Y were collected and then analyzed using Pearson correlative using SPSS. For example, the result might look like this. Okay, the degree extroversion and the speaking skill. Okay, we can see the degree of extroversion 1 and N is 30. Okay, regression and prediction. If there is a correlation, yeah, between two variables, and we know that the score on one variable, score on the second variable can be predicted before regression. Normality and linearity must be tested. For example, there is a correlation between the degree of extroversion X and speaking skill of 0.784. Next, a regression was carried out using SPSS. It has been accepted. Right? Okay, next. Okay, the table of description here. Okay, I think it's already clear here. A and B. A constant of 4.904. This means that if this degree of extroversion is 0, then the speaking skill is 4.904. The example of correlation research title, yeah. For example, the relationship between college entrance test score and the achievement index English literature students. So this is very tight correlated. Okay, now yeah, we have to know about the close relationship with the Islamic values. Correlation research in statistic Islamic values. The Quran encourages people to realize the correlation between deeds and result. Quran Surah Al-Zalzalah, yeah, 7 until 8. Whoever does good deeds as heavy as a zarrah will surely see the reward, and whoever does evil as heavy as zarrah, he will surely see the reward. And the hadith also implies observing cause and effect relationship. It is not permissible to harm oneself or others. Narrated by Ibn Majah. The hadith teaches us to avoid the negative correlation. For example, uh, the correlation between smoking and disease. We have to know about that. Okay. Thank you. Mm, that's the last of our presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Meet again with me, Yusroni Farlan. Now we are going to talk about another part of statistics. They are validity, and reliability. Okay. Now, first we have to understand about the concept first about uh, the validity. The validity refers to the degree to which evidence and theory support the intended interpretations and uses of test scores. PDMC 2022. So it can be said what uh, extent a measuring instrument is able to measure what it wants to measure. Okay, example of validity test. For example, if we want to measure of the student's level achievement, the validity of the level achievement instrument needs to be tested because it is very important to know so that the instrument can measure learning achievement very well, accurately. Similarly, when we measure temperature, we use a thermometer, not a scale, not a scale. Okay, next. When is an instrument said valid? A research instrument such a questionnaire, yeah, is said to be valid if the tool actually measure what it is supposed to be measured. Yeah, and it is exactly measured and accurate. Types of instrument of validity. The first, content validity. The instrument covers all relevant aspects of the concept being measured. Yeah, for example, a customer satisfaction questionnaire should cover service, product quality, and that's number two, construct validity. The instrument actually measures a theoretical construct. It is related to the theory, uh, expert theory. Example, IQ tests should correlate highly with other intelligence tests, but low with personality tests. Discriminant validity. Okay, divided again into uh, two, namely convergent validity and discriminant validity. Convergent validity measure instrument correlates strongly with other measuring instruments that are supposed to measure the same thing. And what about the discriminant validity? It measures different concepts. Correlate with measuring instrument that measure different concepts. It's different. And the next, the types of instruments validity. Number three, criterion validity. The instrument has a relationship with the relevant external criterion, concurrent validity, and predictive validity. And we can say that, for example, COVID-19 rapid test compared to PCR, TDK score predict, such as in college. Yeah, those are the examples of both of types of criterion validity. Okay, here the test of question item. Technique of validity, person product moment. The technique can be used to test the validity of the data in different type scales such as 1 to 3, 1 to 5. It can also be used on dichotomous data where the correct answer is score 1 and the wrong answer is score 0. Okay. Next, the test of reliability. The concept of reliability is measure that shows the level of reliability or cost, constant, constantia, measuring instrument for measuring the same symptoms at different time. Sugiono, 2017. Right? So many uh, definitions come from experts. Reliability is the proportion of variance of in observed scores that is attributable to true score rather than measurement error. Yeah, coming from Cronbach, uh, Cronbach, 1951. Yeah, key concept. There are internal consistency, time stability, pressure agreement. Okay, the types of reliability and how to test them. The first, internal consistency with reliability. Okay, uh, evaluate the consistency between items in a measuring instrument. Yeah, testing method, the Cronbach alpha, we can use the rule like this one. Example, the reliability test of the job satisfaction questionnaire with 10 items. Okay, split half method. Yeah, divide the measuring instrument into parts or even and calculate the correlation. And stability, yeah, reliability test retest definition, measuring the consistency of results over time. For example, IQ test repeated after 1 month should yield similar score. The three, reliability of prior agreement. Internet reliability definition, measuring the agreement between observers in assessing a phenomenon. For example, here is a assessment by two features, Cohen kappa or intra-class correlation coefficient ICC. There are two steps here. Two or more writers rate the same object and calculate the level of agreement. And you have to know the step of reliability testing. Number one, determine the type of reliability. Number two, collect the data. And number three, data analysis using SPSS or Excel. Okay, here the vital codes reliability not the same with validity. The measuring tool must be reliable first before testing its validity. Okay, here are the references. Okay, the last. So it's very important for us to know about the Islamic value. Okay? Statistic test result must be consistent with external criteria. For example, a university entrance exam should predict academic success. In Islam, Quran 16 and 16 verse 90, indeed Allah commands you justice and righteousness. Conclusion, validity in statistics is a true or haq in Islam, and reliability in statistics, consistency in Islam. Okay, this is the last point, the last slide of my presentation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Meet again with me, Yusroni Farlan. I will talk about and we will learn about analysis of variance or ANOVA. This term is commonly used in the statistics. Okay, first we have to know about the definition of ANOVA. Is a statistical method used to assess differences between two or more groups by comparing their means. It is particularly useful in experimental designs where one or more independent variables, factors, are manipulated to observe their effect on a dependent variable. ANOVA can be categorized into one-way and two-way types, depending on the number of independent variables. Yeah, WEDA 2023. ANOVA test requirements. Yeah. First, data must be interval or ratio in nature. The variance of each group must be the same, homogeneity test. And the last, data must be normally distributed, normally test. Okay. And next, you have to know the difference between one-way and two-way ANOVA. One-way ANOVA is used when there is only one factor influencing the response variable. For example, here, one-way ANOVA hypothesis, yeah, the average height of blood worn plants between fertilizer types A, B doesn't differ. A, B, and C does not differ. A, H, E, there is at least one significant difference in the average plant. Yeah, the difference between fertilizer A, B, fertilizer A and C, B and C. And what about two-way ANOVA? Two-way ANOVA is used when two or more factors influence the response variable. An example of a case that can be solved using two-way ANOVA is when a researcher wants to determine the effect of fertilizer type and watering frequency on a plant height. So it is very clear the difference between one and two-way ANOVA. Okay, there are several treatment two-way ANOVA hypothesis. The treatment one, H, HO and HA, the average height of blood plants between fertilizer types A, B, C doesn't differ. HE, there is at least one significant difference in the average plant height difference between fertilizer AB, fertilizer AC, and B and C. Yeah. Okay. The ANOVA test formula. Data analysis in a two-way ANOVA was performed using two F-tests. The result of the F-test calculations are used to test hypothesis in a study. Okay, this one is uh, the formula of the test, ANOVA test. Examples of case one-way ANOVA comparing crop yields for three different fertilizers. Well, testing if exercises types running, swimming, cycling affects weight loss. And what about two-way ANOVA? Example, comparing crop yields based on fertilizer type and irrigation level. Testing if exercise type and diet, low carb versus low fat, interact to affect weight loss. And assumptions, same for both. Normality of residuals, observed values, predicted values, group means. Yeah, there are three here. Homogeneity of variance, equal variance across group, and then independent observation. Yeah, this is the assumption. Okay, advantages and limitation of ANOVA. Yeah, there, there are advantages. First, efficiently test multiple groups, and then reduces type 1 error. And limitation, assumptions, assumes normal distribution, homogeneity of variances, no specific group in the identifications. These are the limitation and advantages of ANOVA. Okay, the conclusion. ANOVA is a foundational statistical technique that simplifies the comparison of multiple groups by examining their mean differences. So, uh, mastering ANOVA can improve our data analysis skills and enable to draw meaningful conclusions from data sets. Okay, thank you. Uh, that's my last part of my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Here again with me, Yusroni Farlan. Now we are going to learn and discuss about uh, normal distribution. This is part of the statistic that to be become very important to learn. Okay, first, normal distribution, also called Gaussian distribution, is a probability distribution, symmetrical bell shape, with which is very fundamental in statistics. And Carl Friedrich Gauss, known as father of the normal distribution, used this distribution to analyze errors in astronomical measurements, showing that random errors tend to follow a symmetrical bell-shaped pattern. Okay. There are several characteristics of normal distributions. The first, bell shape. What is bell shape? The data is symmetrically distributed around the mean. Around the mean. The peak of the curve shows the mean, median, equal mode value. Okay. The second, symmetric. Okay. 50% the data is to the left of the mean and 50% is to the right. Okay? This clear. And third, limited by mean and standard deviation. Okay. So it's the mean value of the distribution and standard deviation, measuring the data distribution, the larger the standard deviation, the flatter the curve. Empirical rule here. Okay. Oh, probability density of function. The mathematical formula for normal distribution. We have to know the logo of the rule, the mathematical formula here, random variable value, mean, standard deviation, and Euler's number. Yeah. Why normal distribution is important to learn. Many natural phenomena follow this pattern. Human height, IQ score, measurement error, and the second, the basics of many statistical tests, such as t-test, ANOVA, linear regression, and other. And the third, central limit theorem, CLT. If the sample size is large and equal or larger than 30n or equal larger 30, the distribution of the sample mean will be close to normal, even though the original population is not normal. Okay, here is the example of picture shows that the distribution curve, normal distribution curve. Yeah. This most students get grades around average. Very few students get good grades, and very few students, yeah. So it was like the equal deviations from normal distribution. The skewness and curvaceous skewness. Positive, the tail extends to the right, and negative, the tail extends to the left. Yeah, this is the skewness. And what about the curvaceous? Yeah, the peak is more pointed, peak tail. The peak is flatter about the flatty curve. Conclusion: the normal curve is an ideal model for symmetric data in the predictive distribution used in psychology, and medicine. The normal distribution is the foundation of internal statistics, allow us to make accurate prediction about the real world. Yeah, the last we have to understand about the Islamic value correlation. In the Quran, Surah number 55, okay, 55, ayah 7, and Allah raised the heavens and placed the balance. Remember the balance in perfectly correlation. The normal distribution is perfectly symmetrical, balance around the moon. Conclusion: the normal distribution reflects the Sunnatullah, the order of the nature created by Allah, a principle of balance, justice, and scientific trustworthiness. Okay. And statistics are used ethically without manipulation. In the Quran, uh, Surah 72, ayah 28, Allah said that God enumerates all things. Statistics help us interpret the signs of the nature more objectively. Okay, maybe it's all for me. Thank you for uh, your time, for joining my presentation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.